Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Anastasia here with this week's Teen Mom Recap. As you might be able to tell, I'm in a new room. I actually just moved, so for now this is where I'm going to be filming, and this is a little bit of a different setup and lighting, so we'll try to adjust it as time goes on. Anyway, this episode starts with Leah. Addie's throat swelled up overnight, so Leah took her to urgent care. They didn't really find out what was wrong with her, so Leah called Jeremy and told him what was going on. To her surprise, Jeremy actually hightailed it over to her a 3-hour drive from where he works to go take Addie together to the ER. I'm sure this has nothing to do with the fact that Leah is single now. Both her and Jeremy have a family history of cancer, so Leah is really hoping it's nothing too serious. Brianna is graciously allowing Devon to watch Nova for the first time in his house. She brings her over, and Devon is holding this tiny dog in his hands like the entire time, and he was doing this last episode too, looking like Paris Hilton and Tinkerbell in 2007. Nova calls the dog Stella because they're both crazy. The results are back from Chelsea's heart monitor, and nothing is wrong with her heart, physically. Her dad, Randy, has been staying with her at her house recently because she still has anxiety and doesn't want to be alone. Aubrey and Cole are going to the father-daughter dance, again. I don't know if this is like a monthly event or if Chelsea has so little storyline that they just had to feature this in every single episode. Then they show flashbacks of the past 4, 5, 6, 7 uninteresting times that they did the father and daughter dance in the past, like anybody actually wanted to see it again. Chelsea discusses her anxiety and says that she constantly thinks of the worst case scenario and is always formulating a plan in her head about if someone broke in while she was there. Randy says it's not necessarily a bad thing to have an exit plan, but Chelsea just wants anxiety meds to make it go away. Isaac is getting a haircut. Kale's there this time, just to make sure it's a wide enough haircut, I guess. Throwback to the time Kale argued with Joe about a haircut that he got Isaac, and she said little white boys don't get their hair styled like that. Well, some people would argue that white girls shouldn't style their hair like this. I'm not personally saying that, but I will personally say that those dreads look terrible on her. Michaela, Kale's sister, had her baby Blakely. Kale says she's not going to tell her boys about their new cousin because she doesn't think her sister will be a long-term constant figure in their lives. Although she said in the past that she thinks the baby will bring them closer, now she's being more realistic and says the baby will probably just make Michaela even busier, if anything. It's interesting to see her talk like that, like she's done putting in the effort with the relationship with her sister. It seems like maybe something went down behind the scenes that we don't know about, or maybe Kale realized, sadly, that she just doesn't have much in common with Michaela, and doesn't live close enough for her to spend much time together. Or maybe one person was putting in more effort than the other. Jeremy and Leah drive together while they take Addie to the ER for swollen lymph nodes. Leah tries to think positive as she doesn't want Addie to pick up on her negative energy. Janelle leaves Florida with Katrina. Katrina asks if she's going to maybe be going on more trips now since they can't film in North Carolina. And if maybe she can tag along on those free trips, maybe? Janelle just says that she has to have a chat with MTV about what the future holds. Maybe the first time Janelle has ever thought about the future in her decisions. To my surprise and happiness, Janelle also says that David needs to keep his mouth shut with MTV, which is probably the first reasonable thing she's said in a long time. Katrina says she'd hate for Janelle to have to leave the show just because of filming arrangements. See, we can only wish that that was the reason that Janelle left the show. It's much more tame than being fired because David murdered her dog, which is what actually happened. While Nova was at Devon's, she asked to sleep over. You can't even blame her. At Devon's, she doesn't have to share a room with Stella and Brianna and possibly even Brittany. She might even be able to get a full night's sleep here without Brianna snoring and Stella yelling. Brianna shockingly says yes, though she and Roxanne admit that it was only because they didn't really have time to think about it. Brianna says that Devon waited 7 years for this and that even though he wasn't ready back then, he's finally ready now. 7 years until she let him see his own kid without her hovering over him. Better get in line, Lewis. Nova comes back safe and sound the next morning. Chelsea went to the doctor to try to confirm what she wants to hear, but since they didn't give her the answer she wanted, she's back here to whine some more. First, there was no medication she could take while nursing. Then they suggested antidepressants, but Chelsea doesn't want those because she took them before and they made her gain weight. I hate to bring up the Mackenzie meme again, but yeah. Some things are more important than slight weight gain, like your mental health. Randy, who she's talking to on the phone, suggests she try yoga or meditation, but no, she doesn't even want to try that because she thinks her anxiety is too severe for that. Okay, but you can try. You can at least try. It really seems like she just wants the doctor to hand her the Xanax and be done with it. But she's not the doctor here. She doesn't get to make those decisions. By the way, Chelsea, therapy doesn't cause weight gain, and neither does yoga. Jeremy and Leah are driving back from Addie's appointment and are very, very, very clearly flirting. Leah jokes about looking terrible, and Jeremy says she's still a shitty driver after all these years. But oh yeah, he's supposedly here for Addie, so back to that. Leah is worried about Addie getting lymphoma, or lymphanoma as she and Jeremy call it, but they aren't sure yet what the issue is. Kale says she is more excited to focus on her own family right now, I guess not including her sister, who's technically family. She talks to Becky about her new house that she's building. She has nothing but horrible memories in this house with Javi and with Chris, so she can't wait for a clean slate with the new house. That clean slate's gonna be ruined real quick when Chris goes over there. Oh wait, Chris never comes to Kale's house. She only goes to him. Never mind. The De Jesus family is getting ready for family pictures. Roxanne is wearing this weird puffy shirt that looks like she's gonna go sign the Declaration of Independence after the photo shoot, but she says that she has swag, so you do you, Roxanne. They know Devon is coming, but Lewis hasn't been responding to anything. She tries to convince him to come by saying that the photos will be a good moment showing that he overcame a tough time. Overcame what, though? Has Lewis actually done anything? Also, Lewis didn't show up when his daughter literally had a heart problem and was in the hospital on antibiotics, so I don't know why you'd think he'd show up for this. Chelsea's anxiety is so extreme that, according to her, she feels like she has no control over herself. She can't think, can't drive, can't do anything, can't go anywhere. They found one medication for her, but they don't know how it affects breastfeeding, so she's not too sure about it. Devon comes to the photo shoot and they take pictures. Stella has a tantrum, but they actually just make the most of it by taking funny pictures of her having a tantrum while Nova is smiling and hula hooping and having a good time right next to her, which was actually really cute and funny. I really liked that. They go out to eat afterwards and agree that everything went well even if Lewis didn't show up. Brianna says that she's going to talk to a lawyer to try to cut him out completely because he clearly does not care. Leah and the girls stay at Jeremy's to be closer to the hospital. Leah's glad that they are on good terms. Leah has been stressing like crazy, so she goes to a park to unwind and calls her sister Victoria. Victoria knows exactly what's up when Leah says that she's staying at Jeremy's, though Leah swears up and down nothing happened and they just slept on the couch together. Oh, on separate ends of the couch, don't worry. Separate ends, yeah, okay, maybe at the beginning of the night, I'm thinking. Oh, and Addie was sleeping between them on the couch, actually, she admits. I can't imagine why she's so confused about whether her parents are together. David apologized for threatening producers, and they agree to talk to Janelle. They hold a big old conference call in like an official room and everything. Janelle says everyone is pulling a limb on her and she's at her breaking point, acting like everyone wants a piece of her. She said David apologized and never actually harmed any of them. The producers, including Larry and even Morgan Freeman, say that even if he apologized and never actually did it, no one wants to be around if he decides to take action for the first time. Janelle says it's not like she's on drugs or got married on a whim, like Cortland, I guess, so she's not going to leave him for the show. It's a real relationship. Morgan says she doesn't have to choose between David and the show, but she's just not willing to travel without David, which is the alternative that they gave her. Janelle is such an idiot, it just hurts to watch. MTV is literally offering this girl free vacations every time she films, and she'd rather have her stank, ugly-ass husband. Morgan says he understands her frustration. Janelle says it's you who's refusing to film, not me. Yeah, that's not how it works, Janelle. The conversation pretty much goes nowhere. Janelle just says she needs to stay at home because it's important to her marriage, and it kind of just ends there. And that's it for this season of Teen Mom 2. Are you going to miss Janelle? Do you think Brianna will actually take action on cutting Lewis off? And what do you think of this season as a whole? Was it as good as the past few, or was the absence of Janelle kind of off-putting? Make sure to comment down below and subscribe for Teen Mom recaps every week.